Obviously, the presentation today is how hackers steal your passwords in 2025 and how to stop it from happening. So what I'm going to start with is a couple of basic facts. So the number one attack vector across the world is compromised credentials. So in hacking, so the companies that investigate attacks, they joke nobody hacks anymore. They just walk in to the front door because they have stolen the keys. So that is what compromised credentials are about. Then the next attack vector, as we call it, is exploiting vulnerabilities. I'm sure some of you have seen this. There is an urgent uh, Apple or Microsoft or Google update for your device that is recommended, highly recommended, because they have found a vulnerability that can be exploited. So that's when they tell you to update your software right away. So that is an example of exploited vulnerabilities. And the third way hackers get in is they access backdoors. So if you have software that is not from a trusted company, we see this often with Androids, Android stores because you can sideload apps, and if these apps are not trustworthy, then obviously they have backdoors, and then that's how attackers can get access to your devices. But the thing that is fascinating is that, would you believe it, 98% of all attacks are due to compromised credentials. And I'm going to show you how that works. But this is a fascinating statistic because this is where people click on links, they have malware on their devices, they're typing in their passwords, and they are stolen or they are compromised. And what I'm going to do today is maybe a little bit of a Mythbusters session. I'm guessing a lot of you use Microsoft Authenticator. And there has been a common misperception in the industry that if you use MFA, you can prevent such credential phishing attacks. And that is actually completely false. And this is not just Microsoft, right? This is all of these apps. They all have the same problem. And it's a problem about the architecture. And I'll explain to you what that means in a second. So if you have MFA that is using an app on your smartphone, for example, this architecture cannot prevent credential phishing attacks. Cannot. And if you're using OTPs, you know, those 6-digit codes that change every 30 seconds, same problem. The fact is that this MFA, the MFA that many of you use, was really created to protect against password-based attacks. That was the only goal for it. Back when in 2010, Google opened it up to everybody who wanted to use it voluntarily. Now it's been, what, 15 years? And it was created only to protect against password-based attacks. It was not built to protect against credential phishing attacks or MFA bypass attacks. And the fact of the matter is that if you have a ransomware attack, 70% of all ransomware attacks use stolen credentials. And a lot of companies believe that, well, you know, I'm a small company. Why should anybody care about me? Why should they breach me? Why should they attack me? Because if your company's operations are at a standstill, you will pay to get out. Even if you're a small company with 10 people or 5 people, because you're not able to service your customers. So what I'm trying to convey is that if you are using MFA, that is using push and OTP, you are not protected against ransomware attacks. And I'm going to show it to you rather than just talk about it. So here goes my demo. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take you to a standard phishing email that you receive. And this looks like a legit email, requires me to update my preferences. And, I'm busy. I have another meeting coming up. I got distracted because my spouse called me, my kids called me, whatever. And I just click on it. And the very first thing that you will see is this is not a Microsoft URL. It looks like one. It says Microsoft on onine.com instead of MicrosoftOnline.com. And a lot of users don't really pay attention to it. And what that means is they go to this website and it looks like a Microsoft website, but it is a phishing website. And today we're a little slow. There you go. And what they end up doing is they end up entering their email address, they enter the password, and I will even receive a push notification on my Microsoft Authenticator app. I'm going to type in this number, 89. So there's number matching that is turned on. And it all looks legit. Except this is a phishing website. This website is called EvilGenics. And what it has done is it has captured my email address, my password, and my authorization token. And this means that any attacker that has this authorization token can log in to my account. And I'll show you what it looks like. So here is the EvilGenics console. So it's 12:26 Munich time when I got compromised. It's 12:27 here, and I'm going to look at this last session. So what I have managed to do is I've collected the email address, the complex alphanumeric password, and this authorization token. If I was an attacker, what would I do? I would go, I'm going to use Google Chrome here. 1 second. I got an incognito window going. I'm going to use Google Chrome here, and I'm going to copy this email address that I've collected. And I'm going to just go to this normal Office login. Now, this time it's the correct MicrosoftOnline.com. I'm going to enter my email address. Microsoft is slow today. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a update on X saying Teams and Microsoft logins have been slow since yesterday. So maybe they're still dealing with this. So now that I have this email address typed in, I'm going to go back to my EvilGenics console and I'm going to copy this cookie or authorization token. And I'm going to go to this standard cookie editor. I'm going to import this cookie. And I hit the refresh. and I am in the account. I just authenticated using a stolen cookie. I didn't have to use MFA. I didn't enter a password. I didn't do any of that. Now, the scary part is if I go here, click on view the account, since I have full control of the account, I can go here and I can do whatever I want. By the way, this demo account is protected both by Microsoft Authenticator and passkeys. And now, if I wanted to, I can add another Microsoft Authenticator app. I'm the attacker, so I can just set up another Microsoft Authenticator app. I can set up another YubiKey. I can create an app password. I can do whatever I want. I have full control of this account. And there is nothing Microsoft can do about it. This attack, I have been demoing for 3 years using a tool called EvilGenix. Now there's about a dozen of these tools. We use EvilGenix. And EvilGenix has been in the market since 2017. So Microsoft is unable to stop this attack. I do this demo several times a week. And I always do it on the stage at InfoSec every year. And I've been doing it for the last 3 years. And actually, there's nothing Microsoft is able to do. So let's go maybe one step further. Because Sean talked about single sign-on SSO. And I think a lot of you know how to use single sign-on or are using single sign-on. You might use a password manager as a single sign-on solution. You might use Microsoft Entra as a single sign-on solution. But there is a fundamental problem with that. And to explain it, I'm going to close this, open a new one. And I'm going to go to Miro. So Miro has an option of allowing me to log in to Microsoft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Microsoft. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Copy this email address. Hit next. Go to this cookie editor. Copy this cookie. And I'm going to hit refresh. And I've logged into Miro. This authorization token, this cookie that I've stolen now, allows me to do whatever I want with that account. I can add other Microsoft Authenticator. I can set up another YubiKey. I can use it to log into any other integration that is integrated with Microsoft Entra. So this is why I say if you're using push-based or OTP-based MFA, it is not protecting you against credential phishing attacks. And it is the number one attack vectors attackers use, hackers use to install ransomware. And then your business comes to a standstill. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue with my presentation. If you guys want, let me see. I think this QR code is still working. 1 second. Yeah. So if you guys want, if you feel adventurous today, don't enter anything on this website. But you're welcome to scan this QR code so you can see yourselves what this URL looks like. Don't enter a username or a password or anything. But if you scan this QR code, you will see you're taken to the same website I was taken to, and that is literally all it takes. I'll keep it for 10 more seconds if you're feeling adventurous. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but if you want to see how easy it is, this is all it takes. You click on a phishing link, or let's say you have an electric car and you go to a charging station and you just scan a QR code to set up your charging, or somebody gives you a pamphlet, the QR code at a conference. These are all examples of how this attack works. Okay, I will then continue. You guys can see my presentation now, right? Yeah, okay. So the question is, how is this possible? And it's actually very simple. When you're using two devices, right? They don't know they're next to each other. And that is how an attacker gets between them and fools you. But this MFA, push-based MFA that you're using, or OTP-based, I think the UX is horrible. No employees that I know of like using it because they always have to look for their phone and make sure if you're using OTP, you're to receive an SMS, you need to have a network connection. Otherwise, you don't receive the SMS. And you always need to find your phone. The second part of this is IT departments need to now manage double the devices, a PC and a smartphone for each user. And I'm sure you know this. If you get a new phone, you need to call your IT department to help you transfer all your codes from the old phone to the new phone, all the OTP codes. And the thing that blows my mind is after all of this, you have another phone, you install an app, you set it up, you still need phishing training because it doesn't stop credential phishing attacks. So what's the point? What's the point of having MFA, going through the headache of the UX, going through the headache of having to change it every couple of years and making it being a pain? And then you still have to do phishing training, and it still doesn't stop credential phishing attacks. Cannot. It's not possible. That's exactly what I did, right? When I did my demo, that was the credential phishing attack. And that's why we call it MFA 1.0. It has outlived its usefulness, because the attacks are no longer just password-based attacks, spraying passwords, things like that. We have a next generation of attacks that have been going on since 2017, and we need a next generation of MFA. And that's why we call it MFA 2.0. And it is focused on prevention. So as Sean mentioned, you are distracted, you receive a bunch of push notifications, and you approve one of them, you click on a link, you scan a QR code, you're tired, you're whatever, you haven't had enough coffee. MFA 2.0 was built with the focus that even if you're distracted, even if you're tired, attackers cannot steal your credentials. And it was built with a better UX. So it's the same device MFA. You don't need a second device. You don't need a YubiKey. And it is built on modern standards such as a zero trust standard called transitive trust, which means you never ever have to use a push or an OTP, whether you're registering the device, authenticating, adding a new device. It does not allow you to use what's called a phishable factor. Push notification is the phishable factor because I can phish somebody with it. OTP is a phishable factor. So transitive trust is the concept of not having to use a phishable factor. And the best part is it is built on a technology called public key cryptography. This is the same tech that is used in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrency, where, as Sean mentioned, you have two separate keys. One key stays with you inside the security chip of your device, and it's called a private key. And there is a corresponding public key that sits with your identity provider. And that public key, anybody can steal. It doesn't mean anything because from the public key, you cannot go to the private key. But from the private key, you can go to the public key. And the private key is sitting inside your security chip, which cannot be stolen. It cannot be reviewed. It can be viewed. You cannot edit it. It just sits. And this public key cryptography has been used for now 4 decades. Every time you log into a bank or you see the little lock, or even you use your chip and PIN to pay, or when you use Apple Pay and Google Pay, they all use public key cryptography. And the biggest benefit of this is there is no secret data, there is no database of passwords. Your identity provider does not have this. So, for example, this is something I always say. When my company is compromised, breached, and somebody steals something from our database, there is no secrets of our customers, none. And that is the power of this new architecture. And therefore, using public key cryptography is a critical component, foundational element of MFA 2.0. And the UX is amazing. The same device MFA that I was talking about, the UX is amazing. You just unlock your device, and I'll show you how that works in a second. And it is also great for businesses and for IT departments because you don't have to install anything. You don't need an agent. You don't need to download an app. You don't need to update your hardware or software. It just works out of the box on every device manufactured in 2016 or later. It's completely out of the box. You don't have to do anything. It is also built to meet the standards of Cyber Essentials. It complies with the old Cyber Essential requirements, version 3.1, and also the new ones, 3.2, which went into effect in April. It also complies with DORA. And obviously, it complies with NIST 2. So it complies with all existing requirements for MFA. And the best part is it was designed, it was built, MFA 2.0 was built to prevent all password-based attacks, all credential phishing attacks, and all MFA bypass attacks. So this 98%, I'll go back to this slide. If I can go to the next, there you go. MFA 2.0 was designed to prevent every single one of these attacks. That's the beauty of it. And this is, some people will call it next generation. We call it MFA 2.0. And that is exactly what we sell. And I'll do a quick demo on how amazing the UX is. So let's do this again. And this time, I need normal window. IK, you guys can see Safari, super. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how easy it is to use MFA 2.0 to register or to set up MFA 2.0, and how easy it is to use it in everyday life, how to authenticate. So to do that, I'm going to go to office.com. This is the real Office website. And I'm going to click on sign in. Microsoft is so slow today. I guess they're still having problems. Sean and Ike, have you guys is it slow on your side?
I've not noticed today, but yesterday I had a bit of a painful day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to get through.
Yeah, I think Microsoft announced they're having some problems with Teams and
Yeah.
Exchange Online. So I'm signing out so you guys can see the UX. So I'm going to use my demo account. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to set up MFA 2.0 and then to use it. So I'm going to click on sign in to Microsoft. I'm a first-time user. My admin has set up everything. I just need to set up MFA 2.0. So it redirects me to this login page, and I click on yes, I want to set this up. And I'm using a Mac, so I will use biometrics, but this works the same way if you're using Windows Hello or Face ID or however you unlock your device. You don't have to use biometrics if you're not using it. So I'm just going to click on unlock, and I will get a pop-up saying, please unlock your device. Okay, yes, I want to unlock my device. And that's it. My MFA 2.0 is set up. It's literally that simple. I didn't type in a password. I didn't enter an OTP. I didn't receive a push. I didn't use a phone. I didn't use a YubiKey. I just unlocked my device, and MFA 2.0 is set up on this device. And it is set up for this identity, which means I can have one integration or 100 integrations. It doesn't matter. This identity is now set up, and it can log in one at a time to all of these integrations. And so from now on, every time I want to log in, all I do is log in, unlock my device, and I'm in. And I will do this again and explain one last thing. So when I click on sign in and I click on login here, if this is not the identity, this is not the endpoint, and this is not the device that was registered, this pop-up does not occur. This means my 6-year-old son can click on every single phishing link in the world, can download all the malware that he wants because he likes to play video games. Nobody can steal my credentials. It is just not possible. And all I do is unlock my device, and I'm in. And I'll go back to my presentation quickly. And we did this for one simple reason, because we wanted our customers to have peace of mind.